Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash, Barakatham. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Wilmington rule well, and to the Akim Akwath, bishops, Shyam, try the falcons of the earth, holding on to the testament of the Lord and Mashiach Yahushua in sincerity and truth and diligence of mind. Is Brother Menashe D.C. Kemp. Short lesson for the hopeful elect. Alright. So these are turbulent times that our people have to deal with. Alright. And you're already aware of the harsh judgments of the Lord, being brought upon our people. You see all the chaos, you see all the terrible acts of the Lord as He's bringing upon the hard-headed people of our nation, alright, the nation of Israel, alright, comprising of the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, alright. Our people have gotten so addicted to living the base life, a life that's totally against the words of the Lord, alright. And when the judgment happens to them, it's hard, it's impossible to feel sorry for them, because you know how it is when the Lord gives out a warning and our people don't take heed to it. It's out of the hands of the prophets. All right. So I'm going to read from the book of Second Ezra. This is the point we have to consider majority of the times when you're out there in the world. All right. So verse 41 says, "Even so now, seeing corruption is grown up, and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so now also?" Yeah, so it's in the hands of the Lord, all right? It's all according to prophecy. So no matter how much, you want to wish well for our people that are in the world that refuse to repent, and for the true doctrine of the Lord and Mashiach Yahushua Bashim Kadash, that's an impossible task, So only the Lord knows who's going to be delivered and be saved, all right? So we shouldn't worry ourselves about that. Verse 42 says, "He answered me and said, This present life is not the end, where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak." Yeah, so it's a lost cause, man. Praying for righteousness in this world, man. It's a lost cause. The Lord's gonna have a salvage operation. He has to separate the righteous from the unrighteous. All right, he has to separate the wheat from the tares. All right, and then verse 43 says, "But the day of doom shall be the end of this time." So the day of judgment, the day of separation. And in the world they call it discrimination, but the Lord has to discriminate. It just means separation. All right, and the beginning of immortality, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. So the weakness of the flesh has to be put aside for immortality to come, and that's why the day of doom is necessary. That's why the harsh judgments of the Lord has to come upon the face of the earth. All right. So when you read from the book of Isaiah, chapter 65, let me see, is it verse 17? All right, this is a good one. So it says, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth. The former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind." All right, and this is exactly what we are focusing on. All right, the promises of the Lord, to put aside the weakness and corruption of this present world, and to make way for a new rulership, a new and refurbished earth, wherein righteousness dwell. So there is nothing major to hold on to in this place, because it's falling apart. The day of doom has to take effect. All right. That's why you gotta put your trust in the Lord, so that way when the separation takes place, that you'll be found worthy to be delivered. All right. So another precept to look at, just to highlight the day of doom. Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6. It says, Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. So these are things that you have to look forward to, for the day of doom to be fully manifest. Chaos upon the face of the earth. All right. So that separation has to take place. It's harsh. The Lord has to bring the heat. He has to bring the scourges upon the earth. And a lot of people don't really get it. So eventually, they will see it with their own two eyes. So the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 13 says, And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. So this is the promise for the elect of Israel, the promise for the 12 tribes, that are patiently waiting for the return of the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. And it takes a lot of spiritual blessings, to stay the course from the beginning all the way to the end, And just to wrap it up, the spirit of faith, okay? Just wrap up all those spiritual blessings into the spirit of faith, and that's it. That's the key to enduring all the way until the end, all right? Because a lot of people are just so occupied in the bank accounts and the investments. They're worried about the market going down. They're worried about the contract falling through a hole and all that stuff. Yeah, so once your trust is in the Lord, you have no worries. You just have to accept the losses in this world for the gain, which is the kingdom that we've been looking forward to. All right. So another precept to always remember is from the book of Jeremiah. And the Lord has already set up the conditions of this ministry, concerning how you operate as a man of the Lord. It says in verse 16, Jeremiah 7 verse 16, Therefore pray not thou for these people, neither lift up a cry, nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. Why? Because the Lord has considered the prayer of two-thirds to be an abomination unto him. So you have to accept what the Lord has set in motion. The Lord is not here to hear the prayer of the abominable, okay? So you have to stick with the plan. You have to stick with the foundation the Lord has set before you, all right? So you can't run away from what the Lord has said he's going to do. And just stick with the plan the Lord has set in motion, all right? Stick with the plan. Don't burden yourself, with the cares of 2/3 of our people. You can't be consumed by what they're doing in this world. So you have to learn, to focus on what the righteous are about. Okay, so it's very, very important. It's very, very important we remain steadfast. Remain focused. And then 17 says, "Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? Their children gather wood, and their fathers kindle the fire. The women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger." So that's something, that should infuriate you. And when the Lord said that He's not going to be dealing with them, just stick with that plan. Don't let your confidence be overthrown by worrying about people that do not worry about righteousness, that are not concerned about righteousness. So you go straight to the point from the book of, let's get this real quick, Wisdom of Solomon. All right. Go to chapter 3, and then you start from verse 9. All right. So it says, "They that put their trust in Him shall understand the truth." And what is the truth? The gospel of the Lord, the Mashiach Yahushai. All right, the spirit of prophecy. "And such as be faithful in love shall abide with Him," and that's the saints. All right, the elect. And 1/3. "For grace and mercy is to His saints, and He had care for His elect." So it's that clear. You can't add on to this, man. The Lord has already set His plan, and there is no altering of that, So it's as good as perfection. And then verse 10 says, "But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations." We just read that in the book of Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 16 all the way down. So you understand why the Lord jacks our people up. Then it says, "Which have neglected the righteous," right? They have neglected the company of the prophets, of the elect, the company of those that trust in the Lord with all their hearts, mind, and soul, and do not bend the doctrine to favor the deeds of this world, all right? "Which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord," all right? "But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord." So it's a bitter experience that 2/3 of our people will have to deal with, simply because they chose to turn a blind eye to the words of the Lord. They ignored and did not want to acknowledge the words of the Lord. So the Lord has to set them up for harsh punishment. All right. So verse 11 says, "For whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture, he is miserable." All right. So there's a reason why the Yahweh Bashim Avshai Bashim Kakadash is referred to as our Heavenly Father. So when you reject that nurturing from a father, the children become wayward, and there has to be a judgment for that. Okay. "And their hope is vain, their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable." All right. And then verse 12 says, "Their wives are foolish, and their children are wicked." So that's why you have to see the reason the judgments of the Lord come upon our people. So just to get a quick wrap up on this short lesson, you go to the book of 1 Peter chapter 4, and then you look at verse 18. It says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? All right. So when the Lord is bringing about that separation during the day of doom, the day of judgment, it's going to be it's going to be a narrow escape, narrow deliverance for the elect that, you'll be like, man, Tawadaya Bashima Shai, that we're able to escape the tumults of this world through the testimony in the Lord of Mashaki Shai, overcoming the beast by the words of our testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. But two-thirds of our people don't have that. They don't have the words of the testimony, neither are they covered by the blood of the Lamb. All right. Then it says, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? So there is no deliverance for them. They just have to come back on the second go-round in the kingdom, and that's the reason why we have to accept the seriousness of this gospel. All right. Then verse 19 says, wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of Yahweh commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing as unto a faithful creator. So you have to have confidence in the Lord that whatever struggles you're dealing with, count it all joy. Use it as a motivation, to build yourself up. All right. You don't have any excuses, to present, all right, to present obstacles before you, so you don't let your suffering become an obstacle to you. You have to use it as a motivational step to move forward. All right. And in this world, man, people get knocked off their horses, they get depressed, but you don't let that get the victory over you. That's the reason why you have to strive to have that crown. So that's the point that I can, don't let the cares of this world be much heavier upon your soul, because we're almost out of here. All right. So that's the point. Barataza, we continue to grow in the spirit as these difficult days continue to heat up in our direction. Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash, Shalom.